Give me a few seconds. Okay, Hare Krishna. Prednaya. Programmer Zakonchitsa. Japa programmer. Haribol. Uvidam Saporsha. Haribol. Haribol. Vachanrad Viditvas. Haribol. Okay. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presta Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Niravishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadeshatarne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchkalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So devotees, well, I think you know where we're at here. You've been following it, I think, all of you pretty much. Now where Prabhupada's been in, he was in Calcutta first, staying with his sister, Pishima, who I also had some association with. Sort of. She didn't speak English, and at that, well, I don't speak Bengali. I mean, I can manage a few words, but she was nice. She was just really, she was just in her world with Prabhupada. Yeah, and she was a character. She was a character. I imagine we'll read some things. Maybe, anyway. She would cook for Prabhupada in Mayapur. And sometimes she'd go to the brahmachari, one of the brahmachari rooms where there's just, say, a couple of brahmacharis staying in a smaller room, and just crash out. Just take rest in the brahmachari room. Haribol. And Prabhupada called, sometimes when Prabhupada was asking where she was in Mayapur, because she'd come often when Prabhupada would be there, Srila Prabhupada would ask, "Where is the fat one?" Because she was like a little round ball of Prabhupada consciousness. All right. So now, Prabhupada was there, then he went to Navadvip, which is about 130 kilometers from Calcutta, and about a 4-hour train ride in the sort of the very public train which stops everywhere. So Prabhupada went, and he associated mainly with Sridhar Maharaj, who was his godbrother, and Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj to some degree. Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj was Prabhupada's sannyas guru. And he actually, encouraged Prabhupada, or really strongly, almost insisted that Prabhupada take sannyas when Prabhupada was living as a vanaprastha, staying in, the different ashrams, just a couple of 2 or 3 different ashrams at different times in Calcutta. Anyway, Calcutta, Navadvip. Yeah, so Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj really encouraged Prabhupada, almost insisted that you must take sannyas, and Prabhupada did from him. So they had a relationship. But Prabhupada had a deeper relationship with Sridhar Maharaj, who was a pretty amazing scholar, very knowledgeable person. They all passed away, of course, quite some years ago. Prabhupada's closest godbrother, there were not many of them who he really was close to, but the one he was closest to was Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. I talked about him a little couple of weeks ago. He was interesting person, and he also he spoke English very fluently. And I told you that the story you probably remember, how Radhanath Maharaj was moving around Vraj Mandal with Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj and serving him before he met Prabhupada, before Radhanath Maharaj met Prabhupada, before he joined ISKCON. He was in Vrindavan. But he would never speak, Krishnadas Babaji would never speak to him at all. And he would never speak with Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj because he assumed he didn't speak English. Because he's this little kind of ethnic Bengali person. I also met him once, Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. But one day Radhanath Maharaj had to ask him something, but he had to do it in English. So to get started, he said to Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj very slowly and carefully, he said, "Maharaj, do you speak English?" And Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj replied with a real West London, the Queen's English, Oxford University accent. "Actually, I think I speak English rather well." All right, but now they're back in Calcutta. And Prabhupada wanted to go and visit Radha Govinda, who he had worshipped, you could say, not exactly worshipped like as a pujari, but he would go and have darshan of Radha Govinda every day, the family deity of the whole extended big family, uncles and aunts and second cousins, and probably a family of 60 or 80 people who are all related to each other one way or another. And they're a real family unit. So he would go from his infancy, when he'd be taken in a pram, right through till he got married, basically. I'm not even sure what age he was. He was in his 20s when he got married, I think. So Prabhupada's gone there, But he's really disappointed because the deity is just not being looked after as he was previously. He's just in some room, upper room, out of the way, and in the main temple room, sort of kirtan hall temple room, he's been replaced by a big deity of Kali. Because Calcutta, Bengal, West Bengal, and Bangladesh, Kali, sort of almost like Kali rules. So, even, we find in some places in Badrinath. Did you come to Badrinath with us? Yeah. Badrinath is a place, Lakshman Jula, which is a place of Lakshman, the brother of Lord Ram. But now, so the temple's still there, but now in the main place is a temple of Lord Shiva. Who's got nothing to do with the place. It's amazing, Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur's birthplace, Birnagar, they've got a whole lot of little Shiva temples. Anyway, it's not easy in Kali Yuga. So the family name, the main family name is Malik. The Maliks regarded Prabhupada more as a relative than as a spiritual leader. To them, he was a hometown cousin who had done something successful in America. Narendranath Malik, a childhood friend of Prabhupada's, called Prabhupada Dada, brother, and regularly joked with him. The Maliks were glad to give Prabhupada and his two followers a large room in the temple compound for as long as they wanted to stay in Calcutta. Prabhupada set up his usual arrangement, a mat on the floor, a low table for a desk, and beside the desk, his few possessions. Here he could study and write, receive guests or rest. Daily some local women brought Prabhupada and his disciples simple prasadam in a tiffin. The Kali Puja celebrations drew large crowds into the main hall before the Kali deity. And Prabhupada gave regular lectures there from Srimad Bhagavatam. He also spoke in the homes of various Malik families. The hosts, members of the dwindling Bengali aristocracy, would offer Prabhupada and his disciples Radha Govinda Prasadam, cut fruits, water chestnuts, minced ginger, and soaked salted mung beans. Most of those who came to visit Prabhupada in his room were not really interested in spiritual life, but they wanted his blessings. There was a local Brahmin whose occupation was to go from shop to shop, carrying a few flowers, a cup of water, and a brass container with sandalwood paste and kumkum powder. Using this paraphernalia, he would offer a blessing to the shopkeepers every day and receive a few paisa in payment. It's very common in Vrindavan. The shopkeepers, generally, or at least many of them, they have an altar. They have an altar in the shop. And every day, the Brahmin comes and does a little puja and, for 5 to 10 minutes or something like that, collects some dakshin, and off he goes to the next shop. Knowing Prabhupada to be a Vaishnav, the Brahmin came to see him to receive a spiritual benediction. The man's forehead was decorated with both Vaishnav tilak, 2 vertical lines, and Shivite tilak, 3 horizontal lines. Oh, okay. After the man left, Achyutananda asked, Swamiji, who was that? He's a hired Brahmin, Prabhupada said. When he goes to the Vaishnavas, he gives them blessings. And when he goes to the Shivites, he gets money. He has to make a living. Another man came, asserting that he wanted to teach Prabhupada's disciples Hindi. He asked Prabhupada to help him get to America, but Prabhupada told him, you must take sannyas, then I will bring you to America. After 2 visits, the man stopped coming. A Malik relation, a small, bald, bright-eyed man, came by one day carrying a book entitled Interesting Studies. Haribol. Sounds interesting. He posed philosophical questions, simple queries about karma, jnana, and bhakti, but then would interrupt Prabhupada and answer them himself. Finally, when the man asked one of his questions, Prabhupada replied, so what is your answer? The man gave a general answer. But later when Prabhupada began explaining that Lord Krishna, the speaker of Bhagavad Gita, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the man interrupted. You may call God Krishna, call him Shiva, call him no, Prabhupada said. Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and all others are demigods. The man became a little nervous and quoted a popular Bengali impersonalist who taught that all gods and all methods of worship are the same. He's an upstart, Prabhupada said. That is not the teaching of the Gita. What is this other teaching? It is all utter confusion. If you go on speaking like this, the man said angrily, I'll have to leave this place. Please don't criticize this Paramahansa. Sounds like it's Ramakrishna. Or maybe Vivekananda. So please don't criticize this Paramahansa. Why not, Prabhupada said. He's a concoctor. The man got up and left, calling out, you don't know Krishna, as he left the room. Prabhupada turned to Achyutananda and Ramanuja and smiled. Every time you introduce Krishna, they say, why only Krishna? But that is what Krishna says, Mata Parataram Nanyat. There's no truth superior to me. These rascal impersonalists have ruined Bengal. One day a man gave Prabhupada a 200 rupee donation. And Prabhupada immediately asked the pujari for an old set of Radha Govinda's clothes, gave the clothes to some of the temple ladies along with the 200 rupees, and asked that the ladies make gold-embroidered dresses for Radha Govinda. Radha Govinda are taking care of us, he said, so we can take care of them also. Ramanuja's beard was huge. Looking like an ordinary hippie, he misrepresented Srila Prabhupada wherever they went. Prabhupada told Achyutananda, tell your friend to shave. Achyutananda and Ramanuja talked, but Ramanuja wouldn't shave. You know, he's an initiated disciple of Prabhupada. But those were different days. There was sometimes really a lot more flexibility. Wanting Ramanuja to agree on his own, Prabhupada didn't ask him again. But when a copy of the latest Back to Godhead magazine arrived from the States, Prabhupada got an idea. 2 illustrations in the magazine showed Haridas Thakur converting a prostitute. After her conversion, the prostitute had shaved her head. Showing the pictures to Ramanuja, Prabhupada asked, what is the difference between this picture and that picture? I don't know, Swamiji, Ramanuja replied. No, Prabhupada said, pointing to the pictures. What is the difference in this picture? Oh, this is Ramanuja. Oh, she's a devotee. Yes, Prabhupada said, but what else? Oh, she has a shaved head. Yes, Prabhupada smiled. A devotee has a shaved head. Ramanuja, do you want me to shave my head? Yes. Ramanuja shaved, but within a few days he began growing his beard and hair back. From now on, Prabhupada told Achyutananda, no more cheap initiations. They have to know something. Ramanuja hung on. Prabhupada wanted Ramanuja and Achyutananda to remain in India after his departure and continue to try for the American house in Vrindavan. Ramanuja wrote his own impressions to his friend Mukunda in San Francisco. Quote, please be advised that we're doing all we can to get him off as soon as possible, but this primitive Indian government is putting obstacles in our way. The man who could have given Swamiji clearance for his P-form has just drowned. So the clearance has to be made in Bombay. This is the delay. Here in Calcutta, we're having lots of fun addressing different people. Swamiji makes Achyutananda and myself give a short speech. I'm becoming more and more expert at this. I think that he makes us speak in order to show the audience that we American Vaishnavas are for real. And also he wants everyone to preach Krishna consciousness. It is very difficult to take care properly of Swamiji's health here. For one thing, it is a big thing to serve sweets in India, and it is impolite to decline. Also, we get all kinds of visitors. We've not been able to go to bed before 11 o'clock, and Swamiji automatically wakes at 3. In this respect, the people here are very inconsiderate. But if Achyutananda and I ask them to leave, they will ask Swamiji if they should. And Swamiji, of course, says no. Anyway, his heartbeat is a little fast, and sometimes it is alarmingly fast. So I suggest that you get a good heart specialist to see him. Please arrange for this doctor, and above all, make sure that Swamiji gets plenty of rest. You need not restrict visitors too strictly, because if the company is good, Swamiji seems to enjoy visitors. Please do all you can to get Swamiji's beat to normal again. His chariot needs to be fixed up so that he can remain on this earth for at least another 10 years. Knowing that Swamiji would soon be returning, the devotees in America began to increase their entreaties, each group asking him to come to their particular city. On November the 4th, Prabhupada wrote Mukunda, "As you say that my absence is being felt now surely more deeply than ever, so I also feel to start immediately without waiting." And to Mukunda's wife, Janaki, he wrote, "Every minute I think of you. And as you asked me to go to San Francisco while returning from India, I'm trying to fulfill my promise. I'm thinking of going directly to San Francisco." And at the bottom of the same letter to Mukunda and Janaki, Achyutananda added a health report, quote, "Swamiji is looking healthy and living and working regularly, but his pulse rate is generally too fast. Last night it was 95, unusually fast even for him, as it generally hovers between 83 and 86, unquote. Prabhupada decided not to wait any longer on the chance that Mukunda might secure him permanent residence. "I want to return to your country where there is good air and good water," he told Achyutananda one day. "Every day we're receiving letters that the devotees want me there. I thought that in my absence they might deteriorate, and I was reluctant to even come to India. But now I see that it is growing. There is need for me to go and supervise the expansion. So I want to go back. The only impediment now seemed to be a delayed P form, a clearance from the Bank of India required for an Indian citizen traveling abroad. Quote, I'm just ready for starting for America. But as you know, our competent government is very slow in action. The P form was submitted almost a month ago, but still it is undergoing red tapeism. The visa was granted to me within half an hour. The passage money was deposited within 2 days. But unfortunately, the Reserve Bank of India is delaying the matter unnecessarily. I expect the P form at any moment, and as soon as I get it, I shall start for your country. Unquote. Just to make certain that Swamiji would come first to San Francisco, Mukunda sent a telegram to Calcutta. Swamiji, Brahmananda and I agree you start immediately. Advise exact arrival date, Mukunda. Prabhupada had planned his route through Tokyo, intending to stop for a day to probe if there's any possibility of starting a center. In Tokyo, he would let Mukunda know by telephone his arrival time in San Francisco. But 3 weeks passed while Prabhupada continued to wait for his P form. Meanwhile, he received good news from New York. The Macmillan Company's interest in Bhagavad Gita was real. The contract was being drawn. Pleased with Brahmananda, he wrote to him on November the 11th, explaining his visions for distributing Krishna conscious literature. Quote, if publications are there, we can work from our center only, like New York or San Francisco, for propagating our cult all over the world. Let us stick to the publication of BTG more and more nicely and publish some Vedic literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Caitanya Charitamrita, etc., unquote. As Prabhupada's mind turned more to the preaching that awaited him in America, he assessed what he had done so far, what he would do, and the process by which he would do it. Quote, this is a letter from Prabhupada to somebody. I am not in agreement with Mr. Altman that we're expanding very thinly. In my opinion, a single sincere soul can maintain a center. You know, I started the center at 26 2nd Avenue alone. I took the risk of $200 per month for rent. At that time, there were no assistants. Mukunda was at that time a friend, but there was no responsibility for him for maintaining the center. Gradually, Kirtanananda and Hayagriva joined, but they did not take any responsibility. Still, I was maintaining the establishment, simply depending on Krishna. And then Krishna sent me everything, men and money. Similarly, if a sincere soul goes out and opens a center in any part of the world, Krishna will help him in all respects. Without being empowered by Krishna, nobody can preach Krishna consciousness. It is not academic qualification or financial strength which helps in these matters, but it is sincerity of purpose which helps us always. Therefore I wish that you, Brahmananda, will remain in charge of New York. Let Satsvarup be in charge of Boston. Let Mukunda be in charge of San Francisco. Let Janardhan be in charge of Montreal. Let Nandarani and Dayananda be in charge of Los Angeles. And let Subal Das be in charge of Santa Fe. In this way, you will follow my example as I did in the beginning at 26 2nd Avenue. That is preaching, cooking, writing, talking, chanting everything, one man's work. I never thought about the audience. I was prepared to chant if there was no man to help me, to hear me. The principle of chanting is to glorify the Lord and not to attract a crowd. If Krishna hears nicely, then he will ask some sincere devotee to gather in such place. Therefore be advised that thousands of centers may be started if we find out a sincere soul for each and every center. We do not require more men to start. If there is one sincere soul, that is sufficient to start a new center. Unquote. On November the 12th, Srila Prabhupada wrote to Krishna Devi. Not Krishna, Krishna, long A. Devi, so it's a lady with the name Krishna Devi. Krishna with a long A is the name of Draupadi. So Prabhupada says, I'm coming soon to San Francisco. I shall let you know the exact date sometime next week. I'm coming over very soon to see you when everything will be adjusted. Hope you are well. And the health notes from Achyutananda continued to arrive in America, that is. Quote, Please tell the devotees out there to take good care of him. It is a very hard task trying to restrain him from overworking himself, but they must be strict. He still has to take his medicines and get his massage every day. On November the 20th, Prabhupada dispatched by boat to New York more than 800 copies of the first 3 volumes of his Srimad Bhagavatam. And on the next day, his P-form finally cleared. Immediately he booked passage on Pan American Airlines and sent a cable informing Mukunda that he would arrive in San Francisco on November 24th at 12:45 p.m. But again his departure was delayed, this time by a strike by the Communist Party in Calcutta. Businesses closed. Cars, buses, rickshaws, and trains stopped running. Riots broke out. There were murders and assassinations. Meanwhile, Prabhupada remained at the Radha Govinda temple. Quote, "My return to your country is already settled, but due to a petty revolution in Calcutta, I'm not able to leave. Our San Francisco friends may be very anxious because I sent them 2 telegrams, one informing them of my arrival and the other cancelling it. Future arrangements are pending." Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any comments or questions? One minute.
Maharaj, how do we come to the stage of chanting offenselessly?
By stopping committing offenses. Yeah. You know, I've mentioned on numerous occasions one time when I was in Srila Prabhupada's room, or his main darshan room, in Bhaktivedanta Manor, probably 74. I think 74. So yeah, it was a darshan and there was not a lot, maybe 10 devotees or something. And one devotee asked Prabhupada, the devotee actually read from Nectar of Devotion. He read from Nectar of Devotion. Let me just see if I can find it. What he read. And from I think it's the 8th chapter. Let's just see. So he read the following. Okay, so he read the following, that even when a person becomes an offender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he can still be delivered simply by taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In other words, the chanting of Hare Krishna is beneficial for eradicating all sins. So what that means is even if a person performs what we call seva aparads, the first of which is from this 8th chapter. Who amongst all of you, are you Bhakti Shastri? Ah, well, what's the first of the offences, seva aparads from the 8th chapter of Nectar of Devotion? Any of our seniors here? It is to enter the temple room with shoes on or in a palanquin. We don't expect, palanquins we don't really use much at all, particularly, maybe for deities sometimes. Yeah, so that's the first of the seva aparads. There's around 60 altogether. So Prabhupada says, if you commit one of those offenses, one can still be delivered by chanting, taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In other words, the chanting of Hare Krishna is beneficial for eradicating all sins. But if one becomes an offender to the holy names of the Lord, then he has no chance of being delivered. Haribol. That's pretty serious, isn't it? So the devotee read that, and then he asked Prabhupada, so isn't there some way of overcoming the reactions if you commit one of the offenses against the holy names? And Srila Prabhupada looked at him as Prabhupada would do sometimes. And Prabhupada had such a presence. He had such a presence, sort of, you could say imposing, but really sort of attention-grabbing presence. So he became silent and he looked at this devotee for about that long and then said, you are asking this question because you want to offend. You want to make some offense and then just do something to become free from the reaction. But you must stop offending. No more offenses, Prabhupada said. Yeah, sure, that was amazing to observe. That was amazing. So that's the point, the thing is, it is in our hands. It's not sort of, some distant thing, but it's just something which we can do and should do, and we must do, and we must just do it. Stop offending. Yeah. We say sometimes Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a suggestion, you could say, that if you want to become free from the 10 offenses, don't simply sit there, like watching yourself. Am I doing this offense? Am I doing that offense? Although, sometimes we definitely got to watch ourselves anyway. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur says you should do the opposite. Instead of blaspheming the devotees, you should glorify the devotees. Instead of saying that the names of the demigods are not equal to the names of Krishna, you should glorify the names of Krishna. Instead of not disobeying the orders of the spiritual master, of course you should not disobey them, but instead of just focusing like that, you should make a point of enthusiastically following the instructions of the spiritual master. It's pretty nice. positive solution. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Anyone else? All you intelligent devotees. Anyway, if not, it's okay. Oh, Marie, you always used to ask questions.
It's not really related to the class, but Maharaj is going to start the next class, not Bhakti Shastri, but the other, what is the
Bhakti
name?
Vaibhava.
Bhakti Vaibhava. So if we haven't done Bhakti Shastri, can we do Bhakti Vaibhava and then do Bhakti Shastri afterwards?
Well, you can sit in there and listen, but you wouldn't, as I understand how it works, you wouldn't be able to sit the exams and get the Bhakti Vaibhava sort of diploma or
Right.
like that. That's how I understand it.
Thank you, Maharaj. And then, Maharaj, if we have some talent, say painting, and you feel that it's really part of your soul, is it wrong to still desire to paint?
No, it's good as long as you use it for painting in Krishna consciousness. Something connected with Krishna consciousness in one way or another.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Hare Krishna, devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. I see.